Hello, my name is Eric, and today I'm going to show you how to change the drive shaft on a PVG Series pump. The PVG Series pumps are all designed the same in that we can remove and replace the drive shaft without disassembling the pump. I have in front of me a PVG 100 pump. The procedure is going to be the same for this, whether I have a PVG 048, a PVG 065, PVG 075, 100 like I have, a PVG 130, even a PVG 150 and a PVG 180, where you can change the shaft using the same procedure. So what I like to do is roll the pump up on its back like this, so that gives me access to the snap ring here at the drive end. And what I like to do before I start is I tap on the drive shaft a little bit. What that does is it seats the shaft and bearing and separates the snap ring from the outer race of the bearing. Makes it a little bit easier to remove that snap ring. And it takes quite a large snap ring pliers to do this. And there are snap ring pliers in here. That's seated. Close that. And remove our snap ring. It's as easy as that. We remove our snap ring. And now we need to pull the shaft out. A couple ways of doing this. Usually in the larger pumps, we're not able to just grasp the shaft and pull it out. We need a little bit of leverage. If I have a spline shaft, for example, what I find what works well is I use an open-ended wrench and just give that a little bit of a tap. Back of a hammer or a piece of wood works well to get a little leverage. Lift that up, and I'm able to pull the shaft directly out of the pump. So here's my drive shaft. And it is this easy. This is the first time I've pulled a shaft out of this pump. So here's our drive shaft. Behind that is going to be our shaft seal retainer. There's no front or back to that. It goes in both ways. So at this point, we can change the shaft if necessary. We can change from a spline shaft to a keyed shaft. We can replace the shaft if we have damaged splines. It also gives us access to the shaft seal. Our shaft seal is located right here. So if we had a leaking shaft seal or we needed to replace it, at this point we could remove the shaft seal and replace that with a new one. If we're just replacing the shaft or changing the shaft from a spline to a keyed, there's no need to change the shaft seal. So reassembly is just as simple. Make sure we put our shaft seal retainer in. Take our new drive shaft, put that in. I like to rotate it a little bit so the splines of the shaft engage the splines of the rotating group. And then I'll just tap that into place. What happens is we get a little pocket of air caught behind the back of the bearing and the shaft seal. So we can gently tap that into place. And you can hear when it's seated. At that point it's seated, and we can install our snap ring. If we did change the drive shaft from a spline to a keyed, now would be a good time to change the model code so we reflect that change if the pump needs to be replaced in the future. So that's the procedure for changing the drive shaft on a PVG Series pump.